And we are live. So, hey guys, and welcome to the RegiCast. I'm your host, Reginald. You already know I'm fucking over it. You already see it on my face. I'm over it. Okay. So, let's just start with some really basic awkward blast. But, joining me, first of all, joining me is Virsaviya, one
Hi,
of the
guys.
OGs. Okay. She's probably one of the reasons these YouTubes exist. Yeah. Because you were like one of the first ones, right?
Evelyn and I started a podcast way back when. Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
was still producing content just on the Facebook group at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, she's one of the progenitors of all of your ridiculous YouTube channels out there these days. Okay, so
All of you guys, but not him.
yeah, no, yeah, not me. This is totally not a YouTube podcast. Okay,
No, not at all.
okay. So let's start with the awkward blast. Okay. So first of all, guys, the goal of this show, the overview of this show, is to have really enjoyable and meaningful conversations. That's it. I don't want to hear any DMs about I got your type wrong or I said this. I don't care. I probably don't. Okay. Talk to Virsaviya about that. All right. So let's start with that. Now, with that being said, everyone that's been on the podcast so far has come from the objective personality communities. For those of you who may not know, objective personality is a typology system. Really, it's an augment or a supplement to the Myers-Briggs typology indicator, but their goal is to try and make it more attractive to the scientific community, or at least that's what they claim. Okay. Basically, the way they're going about that is they're trying to maximize the inter-rater reliability by getting multiple people to get the same type as each other without communicating with each other for any given set of individuals. They have a website, okay? If you want more details, go to their website, but that's kind of the gist. There are Facebook, YouTube, Discord communities, possibly even Clubhouse communities around this. And so that's where I've been talking to a lot of people about this. So the shorthand, this is not scientific just yet. This is more frameworks, conversations, speculation, but there is some correlation with some kind of observations that we've seen in actual human beings. So it's a pretty cool class. Check it out. Check out the website. Check out the YouTube. Okay. Next. I got to say this. Y'all can still catch hands in Super Smash Brothers. I already told you. Shirtless Sephiroth is still disrespecting you guys online. All right.
Clearly, you're missing something.
Virsaviya, you know nothing about this, okay?
I know all those names. I don't know how they're coming together.
You don't want any part of the problem.
Sephiroth and what did you say, Mario Brothers?
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers. He's in the game.
Oh, Super Smash Brothers. Oh, yeah. I didn't.
My friend code is in my about section of my YouTube channel, okay? Come send me a message so we can coordinate a time in the SI to get your booty whooped. I also have an OP community around that, so if you want to join that and get your booty whooped there, feel free, okay? That's very important to me, okay? All right. Finally, we do have a live chat, okay? Virsaviya can see the live chat. She's an EP. She wants to see the live chat. Okay.
Because I have play last and I need to, this levels up my play a little bit.
Exactly. So feel free to leave a comment. If it's relevant to the conversation, we'll throw it up on the screen. But if it doesn't get addressed immediately, leave an actual comment in the channel and we'll get to it. I read all my comments, okay? That should be it. So Virsaviya, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, it's good. It's been a while. So where the hell have you been?
I've been good. This year is off to a really good start for me. I feel like I finally have a handle on my depression, which, consume sleep. Like, depression's been kicking my ass for a really long time. And also Demon Blast Play. I like getting my ass moving and actually doing things in reality takes a lot for me. And I feel like I finally have a reliable and predictable way of handling that before the tidal waves take me out. Obviously, I still have tidal waves because I have a heartbeat. But,
yeah,
things are going a little better.
Yeah,
which is good. Really, really nice to finally be able to say that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
How are you doing?
I'm kind of going through my own tidal waves. I don't know if I could say I'm doing like I have a predictable way of handling it. I do not. But yeah, depression is kicking my ass as well. So it's fun, yeah. Yay, you know. So we'll circle back around to that because I am personally interested in that.
Okay.
But let's start off, as is tradition, with the first impressions. Okay, I am very much known for being awkward. I'm an awkward flirter. So here's my identity. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I flirt awkwardly. I start fights in the OP community. I'm extremely disrespectful. I enjoy disrespect. Okay. I incite disrespect. Okay. That's my little DI. It's probably erroneous.
What do you mean by disrespect?
Yeah, like shade. You got to be shady. I like
Disrespect
doing
or
shady
sass? Because I'm sassy.
What's the difference?
Well, I feel like sass is with good intentions, whereas disrespect doesn't have good intentions.
Mine are neutral intentions. It's self-amusing. It's like I just enjoy it.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm curious. Where did someone say? Did someone use the word disrespect, or it's your word?
This is like my DE. Not like some not good enough shit. Yeah.
No. Well, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to just like dive into that.
Yeah.
No, just like I don't know. I guess what for one person might be coming from a good place, somebody else can interpret as disrespect, right? And vice versa. Yeah. Look at that, double deciding right off the bat.
You can't win with these people. I know. You can't win with them. But
I'm kind of curious what kind of drama you've been causing in the ops groups, though, because I've been out of it for a long time.
Oh, you should stay out of it. It's not even worth. I know I just advertised it, but don't do that to yourself. It's too
I don't plan on it. That's one of the things that's helping me with my depression is not being on Facebook all the time.
That is so shady. Oh my God.
It is. You have no idea how proud I was of myself when I deleted Facebook off my phone. Mm-hmm. Like that was the thing because I've been so involved in the ops community for so long and it is really important to me. And it feels I have really strong FOMO about being out of it, you know, but it was such an easy way for me to lose time.
Yeah.
You know, I'll sit down and it feels like it's only been 5 minutes and next thing I know, it's been 3 hours and like, hello, savior, consume. Like all I want to do is scroll.
Yeah. That's so funny. Now, but circling back to the first impressions, okay?
Yes.
I want to hear what your first impression was of me and then I'll share mine.
None of those. Wait, remind me what they were.
The first impression?
Yeah, what did you just list off? Remind me what those were.
Oh, let me see if my SI remembers. In no particular order, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Extremely disrespectful.
Right.
Incites disrespect. Awkward flirter. What was the fourth one? I forgot the fourth one.
So disrespect. I definitely am not seeing that. Awkward flirter, TBD. I don't know what the last one was. I had I'm trying to remember the first time that I think it was when Evelyn interviewed you when you first got your type.
Yes.
Because you guys are almost type twins.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just seem really chill and down to earth, which I know is utterly vague, but it was also a while ago, so I don't really remember. But then you and I talked like a week or so ago and prepped for this, and also just like nice, easy conversation, somebody to chat with about ops. You know, I definitely didn't get any like insights, disrespect, or nothing. I definitely didn't walk away offended in any way.
Yeah. Trust me.
If you want, I can take offense with something.
Yeah, we might as well.
Something to take offense with.
We might as well. There are people in the community
what's going on with that chair? No, I'm joking.
No, don't fuck with the chair. Okay, stop. That's across the line. That's disrespectful. This is in the SI. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, see, I'm SC, so I'm just gonna gather the sensory because it's all. Yeah, we were just talking about that before we went live.
Yeah, this is my favorite chair. Okay.
It feels personal.
It does.
SC does not.
It does. Okay. We'll circle back to that. My first impression of you. Okay. So it's been a while because I remember you had objectively typed, and so you and Evelyn were doing your thing. I don't remember what my impression of you was back then. I guess all I can speak to is the conversation we had, right?
Yeah.
I liked the vibe during our conversation. I liked it a lot.
Ditto.
It was I don't know how to describe it. It felt I was like, oh, this is home territory. I don't know why. Because I've never talked to you, so I was like, I don't know where that's coming from, you know. But you know, extremely comfortable talking with you. We'll get into the sleep processing, but you definitely seem to have a catalog of
Oh God,
stuff in your brain. I was like, oh, okay,
so annoying.
you got a lot of shit going on there.
I do.
Yeah.
A little bit ago, I actually think this was not long after you and I talked. I was trying to fall asleep and utterly failing to, because insomnia, thank you very much. And this thing just kind of clicked in my head. And all of a sudden, NESI versus SCNI just made sense. And I just had to tell somebody about it. So I'm like, it's the middle of the night and I'm texting somebody in the ops community. And then, of course, Demon Blast Play, I haven't done anything with it since then. But that was kind of like, I think a lot of that grew out of our conversation the other day, whenever that was.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it because you know, I try to sleep process. Not really. I mean, I probably put like 30 minutes in, you know. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the OP, you know, for the kids, you know, and then we'll talk about some real shit. All right.
Okay.
So let's first revisit because it's been a while, right? I know. How long have you had your type now?
I got it August of 2018. I was one of the last ones to get the video. I think in September or October was like when they were like, okay, we're not doing videos anymore. We're just going to send you audio.
Yeah, that's almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
You've had 3 years to sleep process your type.
Oh, hell yes.
Okay, so before we get into like the notes that I wrote down, my curiosity is, since you've had that long, like, where are you at with your type? Like, is it, I mean, you're clearly still using the language, you're still processing a lot of stuff. I mean, where are you? Like, are you settled? Is it still something that you're like finding layers to, or?
So I guess to rewind a little and offer some context. Before I got my type, so Evelyn was typed about 2 weeks before me. She got her type. And when she announced her type on the Facebook group, I'm like, oh my God, I think that's my type. I was so wrong. So I thought I was your double masculine twin. So when I did get there were two things that I was sure about. I was pretty sure I was not savior sleep, because Dave and Shan always talk about how you need to have reasons for your feelings. And I always need to have reasons for my feelings. So I was like, okay, that must mean that I don't have savior sleep because I'm go. And B, I'm probably not savior feeling. So when I got my type, and I was like, SF is the only thing I'm going to have a hard time with. And I got my type, and of course, SCFI, I cried. And then 20 minutes later, I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. Time to process. And I was actually driving the car across the country at the time. So I had like 5 days of driving every single day to process this. And by the time I got to California, I was like, okay, it's my type. The only thing that didn't make any sense was I've always viewed myself as an extrovert, and people have always described me as either an extrovert or an ambivert. Right. So the mopiness and the play last didn't make sense. And it took a while to understand that and to kind of tease apart where my extroversion comes from and what is play last. And now that I have teased it apart, I am absolutely 100% play last. I'm so play last. Okay. And I can see that. I can see it in the not wanting to expend energy. I can see it in the ST being my absolute bottom. I can see it in a lot of different ways. So in terms of like processing that, it's all done. It's been done for a long time. But processing, like deeply understanding the system, like there's new things that I understand about it all the time. It's an amazing system. I'm constantly impressed at what Dave and Shan have discovered and what they've been able to share with the world, because it's incredible.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a language, you know? Like once you speak the language, you can't unspeak it. It's
yeah.
Like once you know how to speak Russian, you can't just turn off your brain. Anytime you hear Russian, all of a sudden your brain picks up. It's the same with ops. Like now that you know the system, can you stop from typing someone when you meet them?
Right.
I can't. No. Yeah, it's like automatic.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone the other day. I was zoned out because I was like recovering from work, but you know, she hates personality stuff, and she kept talking about like, how does this help you when it comes to people, and what about this person, and like, how are you relating? And I was like at first I didn't even like, it didn't even register, but like an hour in I was like, oh my god.
People.
Yeah, and that's why I was zoning out, because I'm like, I don't fucking care. Because and she even said, she was like, the moment we started talking about your personality thing, you lit up, because it was a
that's
system.
in your SI box. Yeah.
Well, not only that, I think it's a thing.
It's a thing. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So whereas with her, she's like, well, what about the people and this? And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, it's like even when I'm zoned out, I can't help it.
Yep. It's interesting that axis, the decider versus observer axis, is probably the one that's taken me the longest to deeply understand.
Okay.
And to like spot. And now I'm starting to spot it more and more. I think part of it is because I'm a glass lizard. So I kind of have like both problems, but neither problems. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still an observer, but I also have a lot more decidery problems than I think the average observer does.
Mm-hmm.
And fewer observery problems than the average observer does. So there's pros and
cons. Mm-hmm. Here's what we're going to do, because I've actually realized something. One, we're going to talk about your type just to revisit it, at least the highlights.
Okay.
And then we're going to visit, you and all that. But I think one thing we do have to talk about is like maybe some of your insights about the system itself, because I forgot you've been sleep processing this for 3 fucking years. There's probably some bars in there. Okay.
There's a few things.
There's probably some gems. Okay. So just make sure you allocate some time for that. Okay. So let's start with so I'm going through the highlights, guys. I'm not Benjamin, I'm not Kendrick. Okay. Go to their channel. Go to her channel. Matter of fact, go to Objectively Type and just
Raja's putting up content on our channel at the moment.
Just scroll past that. Just scroll past that.
Okay. No, he has some good stuff too.
Okay. All right.
All right. Yes, highlights.
Yes. So let's start with the double activated sleep, okay? Mm-hmm. So the double activated sleep, I took some notes, okay? I did a little bit of SI this time. So I'm going to run by you the same sleep SI checklist that I ran by Joyce, because you said you approved of it. But I want you to elaborate on it, okay?
Okay.
So it's the first bullet point if you're looking at the checklist, okay? So this is my current understanding of what sleep processing is, guys. So step 1 is there's a trigger, right? Whether it's internal or external, doesn't matter. There's something that puts you out of equilibrium, right? It's like it's like that feeling of something bothering you almost, right? So in Joyce's example, she gave a very she was like, let's say she's in a conversation and someone asks, is God omnipresent? And she just so happens to care about that question, right? So now there's an open loop in her mind. Okay. So that's step 1. Step 2 is you intensely think about it. And I want to kind of get your take on that because she's a TI, but you intensely think about it, and or you keep it in the back of your mind for reframes, right? In your environment, right? So let's say something, you're basically waiting for something to give you
new information to come in to trigger something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So step 2.
And that, I don't know, that might be because I've consumed over sleep. I don't know if sleep over consume would process it, like would wait for more information to come in.
Well, she's lead sleep.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. What's her? She's sleep, blast, play.
She's sleep, consume, play.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, okay, really good. Step 3 is that. So through that process, she says you organically connect things until you get to a well-formed conclusion. And the way she described it was, you kind of like, she can't really describe. She was like, you just kind of know. You're like, it's like I got there.
Yeah. It's like everything falls into place and it makes sense.
Okay. So that's step 3. And then step 4 is you put it in your golden nugget pile for you to refine over time, or to like bring out when it gets triggered. But let's say someone else asked that same dumbass question. You're like, oh, I already have the answer to that.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm running that by you because I'm curious to see, especially since you have FI, right? So it's like, is there any differences? Are you thinking when you're sleep processing, or?
So, I mentioned how I need to have reasons for my feelings. Yeah. I think reasons has, within the ops system, it can, like, we use it to mean T, right? Thinking. But reasons answers can also answer the question why, which is what intuition asks. So for me, I always need to have reasons for my feelings is that savior sleep, where if I'm feeling something, I need to understand why I'm feeling it. And I'll do that NIFI sleep processing. So I actually think what you described is less FITI, and I think it's NI axis. I'm not sure if SI axis would function quite the same way, probably similar, but that NI wants to find those connections. Like we have a map in our head of how everything comes together. For me, it's how values come together. For her, it's how things work, basic fundamental truths, how they come together.
Yeah. Do you mind if we riff on this a little bit?
Go for it.
I'm gonna play in the moment.
Let's
and
do it.
process in the moment. Okay.
Yep. That sounds about right.
All right. Because I didn't think about this shit. Okay. So I think so to answer your question, because you have this open now I'm fucking bothered because you're like, okay, is SI doing something similar? If I'm being completely honest, this is gonna sound counterintuitive because of his type, but I think the person who represents SINE sleep processing the best to me is Jordan Peterson, actually. Specifically when he wrote Maps of Meaning. Because when he wrote Maps of Meaning, the impetus was, so he's an old guy, right? So what was bothering him was the Cold War, right? It was this question of why would human beings point nuclear weapons at each other, right, over a belief system? Like, how is that possible? Like, why would we risk our survival for some random shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
And so what he ended up doing, and he talks about this very openly. He says, okay, what I first did was I went into, like, first of all,
Wait, sorry. So I'm not familiar with I don't know. I've never done a deep dive on Jordan Peterson. He has a book called Maps of Meaning.
Correct.
Because that is that's a summary of what SIFE is. Right?
That's the name of his book, yes.
That's kind of fascinating. He's Consume, Play, Blast, Sleep, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, yes, continue. This is really interesting.
Okay, really good. All right. So here's my little mini blast lesson. I know you guys didn't sign up for this shit, but I don't give a fuck. Okay, so next, what he does is, one, he leverages his previous knowledge in clinical psychology. So he's been studying disorders, and part of him learning clinical psychology, he had to learn the basic neurophysiology of human beings, just the basic layout of human emotions, right? What's causing what. I think he also studied alcoholism for a couple years, which was beneficial because once you understand alcoholism, in order to understand alcoholism, you have to understand essentially every system in the human body, according to him, right? Now that's him. I'm not saying every person would say that, but he said that. So that's where he started going into SI land. Then what he started doing was he started like reading Jung, mythologies, and all this stuff. I think that was like more of an NE binge, but the important part, which is the sleep processing part, was he said, okay, there came a point where I basically locked myself in a room for 3 hours every single day and just wrote about this for I think it was like 10 years.
Okay.
Like every single day. And what he would do is he would write it and then rewrite it and then rewrite it until the words were perfect to him.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so the outcome of it, and this is like Maps of Meaning is known for being an extremely dense book, is like, you can't read that shit casually. It's like every
word is carefully chosen.
Every single word.
And that is very SI.
Yeah.
Because SE doesn't, like, it's the meaning behind the words that matters for us. It's not the words themselves. So the words are like, you know what I mean. You know, that's a very SENI kind of thing. Like, we don't feel obligated to be precise with our language.
Well, yeah, but I think
very clear definitions in what he means.
Well, not only that. Well, yeah, and maybe to emphasize this, like the difference in our sleep processing is like, for at least for my SI, and I think with Peterson in this example, like the meaning is contained. Like the meaning is so, like, you need to be precise with the meaning because it's like you don't want to miss.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know how else to word that. It's almost like.
Can I offer something?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is that thing that came to me as I was failing to fall asleep. I kind of see NESI as like you're making a puzzle, right? So say you have most of the puzzle in place and you have one piece that you need to put in, and you have a bunch of pieces you can choose from, right? A bunch of possibilities, but there's only one piece that fits there, that goes perfectly with all of the sensory that is right next to it, that completes that color right there, that completes that line. And when you find that one piece, you know that that's the one.
Yeah.
Even though you have a bunch of possibilities, and I'm sure you could stick one in there that sort of works,
Yeah.
but it's not the right piece.
Exactly.
And that's what SI wants to find.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas with
And
NI,
it's
what
like
would
did
NI?
for a decade, it
What would
sounds
the
like.
NI be in contrast?
The NI is
Would it be the actual picture, the whole picture?
yeah. So I think the NE is each of the puzzle pieces.
Okay.
The SI is how those puzzle pieces come together.
Yep.
The SE is all of the pieces together. And the NI is stepping back and seeing what they create.
Okay, so building on this analogy, or like building on this analogy, like I don't have fucking NI, but anywho, okay, but just using this analogy and abusing it. So I guess my question would be, when you're sleep processing, then, so okay, so first, do you experience your SE maybe as like just a scatter of pieces that you don't quite know what to make sense of?
I don't know how to answer that. I guess so. Like, I mean, it's just I think I experience it the same way that you guys experience SI, except there's less filtration, right?
Okay.
So, for example, you have all of those possible puzzle pieces. I will look at all of them. Whereas SI might only pick the ones that have blues in them, or might only pick the edge pieces. You know what I mean? It will filter for what facts it's looking for. Whereas SE, like before I can start working on a puzzle, I want to have all of the puzzle pieces laid out and I want them all facing up so I can see the image, right? That's what SE wants to do. I want to see everything, every single sensory that I have, because how can I possibly know that my NI conclusion is right if I don't have all of the sensory?
Yes, you guys are solving for the whole puzzle. That's so fast. Like, because it's funny, because I'm literally thinking of how I solve for puzzles. I literally do that. It's like, because for me, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll look at the whole picture, but I'm like, fuck that, because it's like, okay, let's start with the edges. We all know we need.
Yeah, everyone starts with edges. I think
I get that.
But anybody who doesn't start with edges, you guys are heathens.
Yeah, you guys are dumb. This is not even heathen. You're dumb. Okay, so but after the edges, it's like I quite literally look for, okay, there's a sky, so I'm sure there's birds and stuff, and I will look at the big picture, but only that specific section. Yeah, I do not want to see everything at once because that's distracting. So it's like I'll cut out my sensory perception to be like, okay, I'm only working on this
right here
piece, and I'm looking for only the pieces that fit there. Yeah.
Whereas I kind of like, I'll start going through all of the sensory and I'll start categorizing it. Wow. Kind of like, this is all blues over here. I'll stick them over here. This has a bunch of flowers. I'll stick it over here. So as I go through and assemble the puzzle, I'll be like, oh, this looks like it'll have a flower piece. Let me look in that pile.
Wow. This is fucking ridiculous. So going back to the sleep, right? Okay. So when you're sleep processing, it's not exclusive to your life, right? So maybe let me, before I even jump into this, it's like you sleep process, I'm assuming everything?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So whenever you sleep.
Okay, so everything, I have consume at the top, right? So the only sensory that makes it into my head is sensory that hits my FI.
Okay.
If it's some kind of sensory that doesn't hit my FI, I may as well not have seen it.
Okay. So within the sensory that's hit your FI, so when you're sleep processing, you're taking a step back and looking at but what is the big picture though? That's the thing I don't get about this analogy.
So I mean, in this case, it's like a mind map. I have a bunch of things. So in the case of NIFI, it's values, right? NITI would be truths. So my core values. So for example, one of my core values is understanding. Another one is fairness, which ironically is my two demons. Understanding is intuition, fairness is DE. but so for example, understanding, right? And then there's a lot of things that branch out from understanding. So one of the things that I value is appreciation. Another thing that I value is compassion. And both of those are part of the understanding umbrella, right?
Mhm.
Because appreciation, I can't appreciate this interview if I don't first understand that you had to make time for it. I had to make time for it. There might be people watching online, all of the things that have to come together and to make this happen. And so in order for me to be able to appreciate that this is even happening, I have to have some understanding there. So the
Yeah.
appreciation is under the understanding umbrella, right?
Yeah.
So all of my values in that way, I know how they are all connected. And so if there's some new value that comes up, so for example, a year or so ago, after I already had like whittled down my values down to, for example, understanding and fairness, I realized that intimacy is one of my values as well. And I still haven't fully processed this actually. I have to update this map I have in my head to see, okay, does intimacy fall under understanding or fairness? Or is intimacy its own thing? So
Mhm.
what are the connections? What stems from intimacy? How does intimacy fit with everything else? So like
Mhm.
that's what the sleep processing is trying to do.
Can you repeat that sentence? Fuck. I'm because that was the thing I was worried about. I was like, how practically? Because like it sounds great like when you're saying it, but I'm like, how would you sleep process using this? You know?
So yeah, so for example, intimacy. Why is intimacy important to me? Because it allows for connections with people, right? Intimacy
Okay.
is the result that happens when you're able to connect with someone. Why is connection important to me? And I just keep going that way and
So
that way.
so stop.
Hmm.
So you don't even factor in the sensory at all?
Well, I think the sensory has happened before this in order for me to get to intimacy. I've already whittled sensory down to the concept of intimacy.
No, so okay, so this like man, okay, so you're hitting something because it's like my like I guess for me with my quadra, it's like it's foreign to me that when you're sleep processing, you're not recalling sensory events.
Yeah, and that's exactly so Evelyn and I have kind of talked about this because she's on that SINE axis where
Yeah.
for me to sleep process, it's always a question of why am I feeling what I'm feeling, right? I rarely have to ask myself, what am I feeling? As soon as I figure out why I'm feeling it, the what becomes so easy and so obvious. For you guys, it's the opposite, right? The why is so easy because there's a gazillion reasons why you might be feeling this. It doesn't matter why. What
Right.
matters is what am I feeling? And as soon as you realize what I'm feeling, all the whys fall into place
Well,
and you know which whys are there.
yes, but not like I get that, but like I'm thinking more along the lines of like not even just what am I feeling, but like literally like what happened, right?
Yeah.
Like if something bothered me, like it's like I'm going back, like so for example, in my mind, it's like I'm going back to okay, this is what happened in the day, and I'm like tracing out what happened. And I will actually associate whys to what happened, but I do have like I need to pull back up that time in my mind,
Hmm.
right? Or like maybe a physical sensation in my body or like whatever, like or I have to write like so there's still a form of tracing out the sensory and then picking out the
Exactly.
whys within that.
And that's exactly the going back to that puzzle analogy. In order for you to know what you're feeling, in order for you to know what puzzle piece fits here, you need to know what puzzle pieces are next to it because you can't just put a puzzle piece in the middle of
Exactly.
the puzzle without attaching it to something. So if
Exactly.
you're going to attach it to something, you need to know what you're attaching it to. And which
Exactly.
is why SI is very historically oriented, as in like, let me look over what happened. And based on what happened, I
Yeah.
know what is happening right now.
So contrast that experience with what
Mhm.
because you're not doing that apparently.
No,
It's like that feels so cerebral. It's like what do you
I am and I'm not. I am doing it. It's just so disposable that it doesn't
okay.
even merit attention. In the same way that you guys are constantly gathering concepts, but they're all so disposable that you don't even notice that you're doing it,
Okay.
if that makes sense. So, like, for example, say you're watching a movie, right?
Yeah.
Or like I'm watching a movie, it's some kind of mystery or something like that. At the end of the movie, there's a big twist, right? As
Mhm.
I'm watching a movie, I'm just taking in sensory. As the sensory is coming in, I'm trying to draw various conclusions from that sensory, right? And then at the end of the movie, there's this big twist and this big reveal, and all of the sensory makes sense, right? Like all of these other things kind
Yeah.
of that I didn't pay attention to now kind of make sense.
Yeah.
I watched the movie a second time. Now I know there's this NI thread running through it. I know there's this big twist coming. And
Yeah.
so I pay attention to different sensory.
You
Now I
still,
look for sensory that falls into this NI box. And if this
yeah.
sensory doesn't fall in this NI box, then I don't look at it.
So I'm gonna challenge this a little bit.
Mhm.
So let's use the movies because I think this is actually really good for me. Because I do that too. I think everyone does that. It's like if you
Yeah, of
know
course.
there's a twist and then you go back and you're like, yo, this
And you
motherfucker
see a
was
lot
wrong.
more things. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that fucker was shady the whole time. How didn't I see it? Oh no.
And,
Okay.
and that's because when we watch it again, our observers are able to triangulate a lot better.
Yes.
It's just
Now,
how they're triangulating is different.
no, I understand that. I guess for me, the difference with the SI, or maybe it's not. Maybe I'm not even pointing out a difference. I'm just highlighting again what you're saying with the puzzle pieces. With me, with movies, that's irrelevant almost. It's like, yeah, that's nice that now I know that. It's like that's not what was important to me to begin with. It's like I may lock on to like one like scene and replay that forever, and then I will actually find more in that scene that even the conclusion was not even talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's very SI because you end up. I think somebody once described SI. It might have been Dave and Shan. They were referring to somebody else's description, but it's like I think you see this a lot in Japanese culture where how do they create such precisely perfect things?
Mhm.
And I think Japanese culture is very SINE. And one of it is because with each sensory, you are putting everything into that one little bit of sensory. And then at like, a bricklayer, you're only laying this brick and you want just that brick to be perfect. And you've laid that brick. And then you're moving on to the next one, and then the next one after that. And once you have this collection of perfect sensory, you step back and you have this image, right? Or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So for you, when you're watching a movie, when you see an amazing scene, it's that perfect sensory. Every single part of that scene was clearly thought out and it comes together so beautifully. And the respect and awe that goes into that, that's what appeals to you because you know how hard it is to whittle down all of the sensory just to this specific SI.
Yeah.
And that's where your attention is. It's not like you guys, we all do everything, right? So you guys take in all sensory as well. You just don't attend to any of it. Your brain doesn't ping on it.
Yeah, 80% of it's trash.
Right. And for us, it's kind of the opposite. Like 80% of concepts are trash and 20% of them are good or whatever it might be. But sensory is kind of like, well, let's pay attention to all of it because it might change this NI concept that I have somewhere.
Yeah. Really good. Wow.
Manny's on. I haven't seen him in so long.
Ignore him. He's Manny. Watch his episode, okay? All right. Now, building upon that with my SI, okay, not the NI because I don't give a fuck. I got my puzzle pieces right here. Okay. Now, one of the ways you described your NI, and I think you mentioned this, but I do want you to kind of go revisit this, is you described your NI as network graphs. Can you talk a bit about that?
Happy to. It's hard without getting technical because my understanding of it comes from technical. So a network graph, another way of calling a network graph is like a mind map, when you have a bunch of bubbles and they're all connected somehow. So in software, those bubbles, we call them nodes, and those connections, we call them edges, right? And that together comes together and creates a network graph. So you can have a node that connects to has a bunch of edges and connects to a bunch of other nodes, right? You can have some nodes that are just swimming there without being attached to anything. And that's that like sensory that becomes irrelevant. If I have sensory that has a connection to something, then there will be an edge and it'll connect to some other sensory. And I'll know, and it'll like when you step back far enough, you see all of these connections and you see where things are clustering.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like for us. And I think very much, I've been thinking a lot about this. So I think, so NIFI wants to understand the core of feelings, but it's not just my feelings. It is feelings, individual feelings, full stop.
Right.
So I want to know one of the things, and this is where I learned how I teased apart that play last and how I can be such an extrovert while having play last, is because for me, it's just as important what your core values are as mine. Well, okay, no, I'll be honest. Mine are a little more important. But one of the things I'm always paying attention to is what are the core values of the people around me? What are the core values of the people in the room with me? Which I think is one of the reasons why, you mentioned this in the beginning, you felt immediately very comfortable with me. And that's something a lot of people, that's feedback that I've heard a lot. And I think one of the reasons is because I immediately look for someone's FI and like, without even realizing that I'm doing it, I pick up on what their FI is and I do whatever I can to make that FI feel comfortable and feel safe. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because I have that NIFI sleep at its core, trying to understand what are the core values that govern human behavior. Right.
Okay.
So NITI will be looking at, I think this is why TI users so frequently talk about TI as truth, because TI is looking at what is the core truth that I guess governs the world. So like, for example, like if you look at a math proof, say, for example, you look at, I don't know, a right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared when you're talking about the hypotenuse or whatever. That is a core truth. As far as we can as humans, as we can call it a core truth, because that is true no matter what you do with it, no matter what sensor you throw at it, no matter how you put it this way or that way, that will always be true. And from the way I've come to understand it, that's what TI is looking for. Whereas TE is more looking for it like practical truths. Like, can I apply it? Will this help the tribe? If not, then why do I care that a squared plus b squared equals c squared?
Exactly.
Whereas TI wants to know that at its core. So in that same way, we're trying to understand FI value.
So let's bring it back to the puzzle pieces. Okay.
Yes.
When we talked in the pre-episode call, what would you say is the core values either of me or of humans that I was manifesting in that pre-episode?
Oh, I have no idea. I'd have to think about that and sleep on it and probably go back to that sensory, which I don't think we have because I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Sorry. I guess it didn't fall in my FI box
it's
enough.
Lost in history. I see how I am to you. I see where I relate to you. Okay.
This is our second time talking, okay?
Look.
You're going to need to be in my life a little more actively than that.
If you want. You got to do it in the moment. That's how play does it. You got to just make it up. Okay. All right. Next.
I could tell you, I don't think they'll like it. I could tell you about Evelyn or Raja or Josh or Brian or Heather. Oh my God, all of these sleep lasts. I know all of their FIs because I'm good friends with all of them.
All
right,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right. So next, and this one was interesting to me because it fucks with all the stereotypes in the OP community. You mentioned how you being double activated on sleep, like I don't know how we said this, but the puzzle piece was you said, I don't know what a blank mind feels like.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you were pre-processed. Like, what do you mean you don't know what a blank mind feels like? So can you talk to me about that?
What do you think processing is?
Girl, I don't know.
Processing is thinking.
That shit's last. I don't know what
processing is constantly thinking. There is no absence of thought in my head.
No, but I thought the whole point was pre-processed. I thought you're done processing.
Well, by the time I'm talking to you, I'm done processing. You can ask me, like, if I am, say, for example, there's something, I don't know, say my mother is sick and she's dying or something like that.
Okay.
And those emotions are really raw for me. You are not going to know that I'm feeling any of that because I haven't processed it yet.
Okay.
Once I've processed it, I will blast about it, no problem. Play blast energy in your head. That's how Manny described it.
Mm.
um, yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
there's also a difference here in that it's NI processing, because what is intuition? As it took me a long time to understand what they mean by this, but they talk about how intuition is running simulations, right? So NIFI processing is literally, I mean, another way of looking at it is kind of like daydreaming. I will run through various simulations of what I would like to happen. Say I'm running through simulation of a conversation with somebody, right?
Yeah.
And we all have intuition somewhere, right? For me, the intuition hits on my FI before it hits on the tribe. So I will be processing through my head, like, okay, this is the feeling I want to have. And let me run through simulations of how I can get that feeling. You know, let me run through simulations of how I can live that value. And that might be through a conversation with somebody. And like, what is running through simulations? That's daydreaming. What is daydreaming? It's running through simulations, right? It's something that's happening up here, not in the physical world.
Mm-hmm.
So in that same way, so like NITE is running through simulations of how something is going to work for the tribe, right? So like if I am running a meeting, I'll have to run through and like, okay, for this meeting, I'll have to open it up with this. Oh, I'll have to make sure to give the floor to this person because we need this information. And then I'll run through it and it's like, oh, I forgot this sensory. Let me back that up and reorganize it, right?
Yeah.
That's also running through simulations in my head.
Yeah.
But for the purposes of the tribe rather than my values.
Yeah, can't relate. Sounds fake. I know. Look, I know you. I'm probably fucking with your feelings right now.
No. I'm curious whether or not that was sass or whether you were being serious.
That was both. I'm allowed to do both.
You are allowed to do both, 100%.
Yes, that was both. I'm efficient with that. My TE knows how to do it. Yeah, for me, whenever I do that type of quote unquote daydreaming, it's too chaotic. It's just
exactly because
runs
it's
off the rails. Exactly, it's NT, it's play, and then I end up wrecking things. I just do things and then I eventually fall into a rhythm is how I do things. Like, so for example, so let's contrast work, right? Because I have to do presentations as well. When I first started at work, I like stumbled around and I said awkward shit and, you know, I got hung up on and it looked awkward and, you know, but over time it's like I find, it's SI as well. Cause like I find through that shit mess, I eventually find one puzzle piece.
The SI.
I was like, oh no, I actually kind of liked what I said there. Okay, so I file that away. And then I'll say that the next time. And then, oh crap, I said another cool thing. And then I'll file that away. And then eventually I have like a fully formed presentation where now, like I've been working at my job like about a year and 3 months. And they're like, oh my God, like you're extremely good. Like you seem to practice a lot. Yeah, I practice by fucking up in front of like 30 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, and this is very likely because of that Demon Blast play, but when I am preparing for a presentation, for me, the most important thing is to get the NI concepts right and in the correct order, and then the words will come to me. And that's one of the reasons I notice, I think NESI people are a lot more likely to be writers than SENI people, because in the process of writing, you are finding the right words and you're bringing it down to that perfect SI in the way that you were telling me about, you know, Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
That's how my mind works. Wow.
I hate writing. My blast when I'm blasting verbally to someone is great. Well, you know, for Demon Blast. Manny just said, I think this is also introvert versus extrovert approach. Oh, you just said it. I don't know what you're referring to.
He's a nerd. Don't worry about him.
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, because you're NETE and he's NITI. That's got to be interesting. That
no, it's not. Don't give him any attention right now. Stop. He's loving it right now. I could tell. Okay. Yeah.
What were we talking about before we started?
We're talking about you don't like writing.
Oh yeah, the blast is much easier because I can find the right words as I'm going like this, and like I can convey the NI thread. But when I sit down and I have to write, whittling down all that sensory down to that SI is hard. It's very, very taxing for me. I actually, when I have an SI editor, gold comes out. Gold.
Yeah, it's taxing, I think, even for the SI saviors. I just like I enjoy it. As little as I've done it, the few times I've done it, I've legitimately enjoyed it. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing like it because it's like you're the way I would describe it when you're doing this is like you are pinpointing like the exact entry to the deepest possible meaning. I know that's like SIFI to some extent, but it's like you're finding the exact entry point.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's crazy.
And that, I don't remember if this was before we went live or after. You had mentioned, oh crap, I just lost my train of thought. I smoked too much weed.
Virsaviya, come on, you can't just be announcing that.
I can. I live in California.
Kids on the podcast.
California.
Think about the
sorry. Is this a kid-friendly podcast?
No.
Did I not drop so many F-bombs?
No, fuck that. I'm messing with you. Okay. Okay. I didn't know you were smoking though. You should have told me.
No, I'm not high right now. No, I wouldn't do that. No, I just it was a joke. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what we were talking about.
Okay. We were talking about NI. Okay,
yes.
you fucking hate writing. You like having general points.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna say something else though.
Yeah, whatever. Let's move on.
All right, fuck it. Next puzzle piece. Okay. We got to talk about the savior feeling. I'm already fucking triggered after today's class, so I'm gonna.
Oh, what happened? I haven't been on.
I'm gonna abuse you for a second so I can process my shit. Okay, so
process allowed.
One of the recent classes, guys, I'm spoiling it, so jump the fuck out if you don't like spoilers, whatever. So the most recent person was typed as lead TE, okay, but their life's work is about emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like what the fuck, She's talking about emotions a lot. But so one of the key things that they said in the class, and they kept emphasizing in the class, is like, oh no, like savior thinkers can when it comes to positive emotions, savior thinkers you can't catch them. They'll be just as silly. They'll just be just as funny.
Of course.
Blah blah blah. When it comes to negative emotions, that's where you catch them. Savior feelers are way more comfortable with negative emotions than savior thinkers. To the point where savior thinkers will almost be mad at you for making them feel bad or making other people feel bad, which is counterintuitive because you would think that, savior feelers would be the ones concerned with the vibe, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you, as a savior feeler, number one, what does that mean to you? And then number two, what does that mean in the context of negative emotions? I know we started the podcast with depression. I never would have led with that shit. Like that's like a 50-minute in confession. You went in 4 minutes in, you're like, yeah, here we go. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, let me counter by asking you something. What's the difference between, in your understanding, what makes a savior and what makes a demon a demon? It's probably the hardest yet most valuable part of ops.
Okay, so what makes a savior and what makes a demon a demon? I don't have an NI for this, so can I do the puzzle pieces? Okay,
go for it.
Let me just do the puzzle pieces of what the fuck it isn't. Okay.
Okay.
So, what makes something a savior is not whether you talk about it or not, right? So, as in the case of this class, she talks about emotions a lot, right? But that doesn't mean anything. Nor is it self-reporting. So just because you say I'm good at X, I don't have to fucking believe you.
I thought I was play.
Exactly.
I thought I was NT play.
Where I think what makes a savior is honestly, I feel like is the time. I think that's honestly where I'm coming down to it with it. It's like you're just addicted to the shit. So you're doing it like 80% of the day.
Yes.
And to the point that you're like, unless you're mature enough to kind of balance out, you are forcing other people to play the role of the demons in your life, and you start tantruming whenever anyone forces you to do your demons.
Okay. So say you are doing something 80% of the day. Say, okay, so you're any at the top, you're doing any 80% of your time, you're doing any.
Correct.
What that amounts to is after doing a lifetime of any all the fucking time, when NE is a hard one because I can't give an example. Let's go with TE.
Yeah.
After doing a lifetime of TE, when you do encounter something that like you put together and it didn't work, or you said something or did something and the tribe was pissed at you or whatever, you're like, whatever, it happens. Rolls right off the shoulder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because you've put in so much time and you've built the muscle of dealing with the negativity that comes with that savior.
Mm-hmm.
With our demons, because we don't put in that time, we can't deal with the negativity of our demons. So, for example, my roommates were all Manny is asking responsibility, kind of elements of that. I can mention something about that a little later, but it's so my roommates we're all chaos monkeys. Everyone in this house is allergic to planning.
Okay.
And I probably, because of the double activated, and I am the one who's always pushing for planning. Hey guys, let's plan, let's clean, let's organize, whatever it may be, But I get pissed as all shit when they don't follow it. Because it's like, hey, you are making me do my demon.
Oh.
And now I have to deal with the negativity of my demon. I don't have the muscle strength for that. Why are you doing this to me? Pull your own shit. Pull your own weight. You know what I mean? So that's what happens with our demons. We can't deal with it. That is, for me, that has been the most valuable part of understanding the difference between saviors and demons is, can somebody deal with the negativity of that thing, right? So I can TE all day long, no problem. But the second I feel a little bit of tribe hate, I fall apart.
Right.
I can NI all day long, but the second I need to lean on that NI and I don't have sensory proof of it, I freak out. Saviors equals equanimity, demons equals polarized, avoiding pain. I don't know.
Don't worry about his TI. He's like, give him some time. I'm telling you.
No, yeah, I know, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd have to talk this out with you, Manny.
Yeah. Yeah. Odom, you're not necessarily wrong. We're not TI though, so I'm sorry.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's kind of so in answer to comment on today's class, which I haven't watched, but this idea that demon feelers can't deal with negative feelings. Well, yeah, of course, because we can't deal with negative anything in our demons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am the biggest control freak. And the reason I'm the biggest control freak is because I can't deal when my control goes sideways. Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm putting the puzzle pieces together.
Okay,
I'm
good.
thinking of specific events where I freaked out. I freaked out like on several people like this past week, this week and last week, for the exact same reason. It's like I finally decided to do SI for fucking once.
Yes, exactly.
And I was pissed.
Yeah.
And like I made sure everyone knew it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how we behave with our demons, and that's all of us. I don't care who you are, even if you're fucking, Gary V, alpha of alphas or whatever it is. Like, we all still do that. And the biggest growth is learning or like building the muscle of dealing with the negativity that comes with our demons.
Okay.
So like even with our saviors, even with our animals, right? So like play last, right? If I expended energy and it was wasted, do you know how mad I get? I finally SETE did this thing and it ended up being useless. Like, that is hard for me to deal with. But my biggest growth is in learning to accept that, hey, sometimes you just got to throw shit at the wall and not all of it is going to work, but that is the best approach. And
yeah, no, this is really good. This is a tangent. Okay. This actually also helps me realize some of the questions that like demon consumes will ask me. It's like, how do you consume? Like, what happens if you waste your time? Like, and I'll answer them like, yo, sometimes you consume something that was a waste of time.
Exactly. Whereas demon consumes, if I'm consuming, I want to make sure that it's actually hitting my DI. Otherwise, why am I taking in all of this sensory or intuition?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting triggered. You guys know who you are if you're watching. I consume. Stop. Okay. Anyway,
We all do it. We all do it.
no, I absolutely. I'm scared to ask myself how I do this with sleep last, but anyway, I finally did some sleep. I don't even know what that looks like. Okay. So next,
I should let you know. I have a hard stop at 4:25.
yeah, I want to get the fuck out of here as well. So we're
Okay.
aligned. Our FIs are aligned. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So that's why I'm trying to cut through some of these. Okay. Speaking of sleep last, I guess I gotta fucking process it on the spot. Let's compare and contrast types for like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Your play last.
Yep.
I don't know how that's fucking possible. I'm sleep last. Okay. So how would you describe that contrast?
For play last, it's interesting. Leon is on. Hi, Leon. I guess all of the 9 guys are hopping on. No.
Yeah, they don't have a life.
That doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No.
No. Okay. What were we talking about? We were talking about
play last versus sleep last. Okay.
So, for example, right? I haven't had a job since April.
Okay.
And I am an EP and I really like not having a job. And I've been like lazily doing a job hunt, right? But a job hunt requires a lot of blast and a lot of play. And job hunting it's a numbers game. You just got to put it out there and you just got to do a lot of work. And a lot of that expending energy, a lot of that play isn't going to return the results that my NIFI wants, Yeah. When in the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I have some serious things I need to get addressed. I need to have an income and I need to lock this shit down. It's been 5 weeks and I have 3 job offers, right? And that's the difference. When play falls within sleep, then it can be very, very powerful. But if it's not within my sleep, then it might as well not happen. I often talk about how our animals are, and Dave and Shannon used to describe it this way, how our animals are filters, right? So if you look at a filtration system, first you filter out the big things, then you filter out smaller things, then you filter out the very mineral, very microscopic things, and then you have pure clean water, right? So in that same way, a lot fewer things are going to make it down to your last animal. But when they do make it down to your last animal, that shit's going to be good, right? So I don't play very much, but when I do make it to play, whatever it is that I produce is good. So you're not going to sleep very much. Whenever you do get, it's like Evelyn used to describe it. She's like, yeah, I don't do sleep very, sleep last. She's like, but you better believe when I'm sleeping, I have my prayer beads and I have my little meditation corner and all of that, right? Because we don't do it very often. So by the time we filter down to it, it feels almost like sacred in how we approach it. So like, if I'm going to expend energy, I'm going to damn well make sure that it's something in my NIFI box. And that is one of the reasons I slow down so much and don't produce nearly as much as I would like to be. So for you, it's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to sleep process something unless you've played it first, which is why, a lot of the sleep processing you do and all of my favorite plays and, double activated plays and demon sleeps, they sleep process through their play because that's how that filtration system works for them, for you guys.
Yeah. That's me. And also Jordan Peterson, quite frankly. I'm actually thinking more of Jordan Peterson than myself, DE, right? But I'm literally thinking about how the one thing he slept processed, the Cold War, led to Maps of Meaning. And it's I'm telling you, that book is top 10 in the past 100 years.
I'm really curious to read this book now. I'm gonna have to.
It's ridiculous. It is that good. I will 100% recommend that book. I wrote a book review of that book. Right, so I even had to sleep process his sleep processing. It was that level.
Maps of Meaning?
Yeah. Maps of Meaning, The Architecture of Belief is the full name.
That is Maps of Meaning is just Such a brilliant summary of what SIFE is.
Yeah. Yeah.
SIFE wants to look at, historically, what have we always valued?
Yeah.
Because that informs what we value now.
Yeah. There you go. It's fucking bars. I'm telling you guys. Look, I brought guys, my recommendations are always hitting. I brought you the game night. I brought you Smash Brothers back. I'm telling you, Maps of Meaning is on this list. I'm telling you.
I'll add my list. Harry Potter. No.
Harry Potter is okay.
No.
Maps of Meaning is top 10. I'm telling you.
I actually think, well, this is kind of what we sort of talked about in the beginning. Mindful self-compassion. Self-compassion is one of the 3 things that allowed me to get a handle on my depression.
Okay.
Self-compassion, mindfulness, and gratitude. Those 3 things.
Okay. Well, how did we get here? I'm sorry. How do we jump here?
Mindful self-compassion is the name of a book.
Oh, okay.
That's if I was going to recommend any book, it would be Mindful Self-Compassion.
Okay, really good. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't. That connection was in my head, not all out of my mouth.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
You're like, shit. We're talking about negative feelings again.
Yeah,
how did we get here?
No, leave it. Okay. So let's spend the last few minutes talking about you, because I know you're FI. That's the most important part of the show. Okay. All right.
I enjoy blasting. I've been doing a lot of it right now.
I know you're peacocking too. All right. So let's talk about your interests. Okay. Let's keep it focused on the FI. When the fuck are you coming back to Objectively Typed? Let's start with that.
Well, so a couple of things. Next week on Wednesday, I'll be doing something with Raja on the channel.
That's really soon.
We'll be doing a deep dive on feelings. And how do feelings and emotions equate with values and priorities?
Okay.
I've been doing a lot of sleep processing on that.
Can you drop a little bit, or no?
Sure. I mean, the TLDR is when you look at, in any given situation, if you look at, like, there's a tiger in your face, what's important right now? Right now, it's important to feel fear and to protect yourself and protect your loved ones, right? And feelings, emotions are a short circuit to that priority. That's how we evolve. That's the TLDR.
Yo, when I tell you, Maps of Meaning literally maps that out. I'm trying to tell you, guys, it's serendipity now.
Hey, I didn't need to sleep process or write about this for 10 years. I just needed to sleep process.
Don't throw shade at my boy, okay?
Too late.
This is for all the thinkers like myself.
So interestingly, total aside, his daughter is my TI type twin.
I did not know that.
Michaela, okay. Yeah. I only have one type twin, Khloe Kardashian, and I don't watch that show, so it's really hard for me to find content about her. But it was interesting to read up about Michaela.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Do you have any autoimmune type beat?
Not that I know of, but who the fuck knows?
Okay, right. True. Guys, I'm trying to tell you. All right.
I will definitely check it out. I don't promise I will read it, but I will check it out and I'll let you know what my FI thinks of it.
I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Next. Let's talk about your NI with Objectively Typed. So apparently you're the secret mastermind of the shit. So talk to me, because you stepped away. So what happened?
I had to get my life in order. Okay. The depression was wrecking a lot of parts of my life. And I had to find a reliable, sustainable way of pulling myself up. And now that I have, and hopefully I'll be signing an offer sometime. Hopefully, actually tonight, but we'll see. Nice. And once I have that a little more secure, one of the goals that I set for myself for this year actually is to do some blasting at least once a month in the realm of ops or this area of things that are really important to me. And so I want to start putting, I don't know when I'll get around to it because Demon Blast play, but all of this stuff that we've been talking about, for example, my understanding of sleep or understanding of feeling, all of that, I want to put those together into, specific carefully planned blaster videos for YouTube.
Mm.
So the only kind of content I've been producing thus far is like conversations like this and stuff like that. But like, I'm thinking like talking head, let me like really hone this down and put out little blaster lessons instead of going over the same shit over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Guys, you know what this means. You guys got competition now. You guys, the reign is over.
There's
She's
no
coming back. She's gonna run shit now.
Well, no, it'll be a little while before I can do that. I have a lot of things going on right now.
So
I think
Virsaviya, you're killing my vibe. I want you, like, in my mind, you're like the returning rapper. It's like you guys have until next summer to get your shit together. Okay?
Yeah.
That it's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, summertime, I guess I'll, you know what? Why the fuck not? I will give myself that deadline. By the summertime, I will need to put together at least one video.
I try to tell you. You all got next summer.
I'm writing this down.
I'm hyped. I made that.
There's also like I mentioned the mindfulness, gratitude, and self-compassion, with those three things, as things that have helped me, and I want to do some blasting about that as well. And pull some of that in, and how those things have been so instrumental for helping me get to where I am. And here's some peacocking. Okay. I have never, ever been able to hold any kind of intentional routine in my entire life.
Okay.
Like, no intentional routine at all. I have been meditating every fucking day for the past 6 months.
There you go.
You have no idea how proud I am of that. But that is totally the example of the like demon OI, like, oh my God, guys, look at this beautiful picture that I drew. And it's like a line drawing that a 3-year-old drew or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I did something for 6 months. I'm so proud of myself. Everyone else is like, okay. See, that's what your face is telling me right now. It's like, okay, great. Shut up.
No, I'm smiling internally because I'm like, I just scared a lot of YouTubers right now. My master FI is self-amused that you're about to just wreck their shit. I'm trying to tell you.
No. I mean,
yeah, you are.
First of all, I'm not about. And second of all, I think I don't think there's going to be, I'm out of the loop though. I don't think there's anybody who's producing that kind of content right now.
Oh, look at that dig right there. See, I brought out the disrespect. Y'all ain't doing it like her. See, this is like
but it's, why is it disrespect? It's just different niches,
I'm just hype
different
right
demographics.
It's hype, okay?
I know you're super proud of that inciting disrespect, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay. Last major point, and then we'll get the fuck out of here. Apparently, you're trying to build some AI for us.
Oh.
So talk to us about the AI. You want to do AI with OP, right?
I have an idea for it, yeah, but this is years away, especially because Blast Play. But I don't have experience with machine learning, which is for people who are not technical. That is how currently we build any kind of AI. It's with machine learning. I don't have any direct experience with machine learning, but I know how it works, and I have it mapped out in my head for how I could potentially train an algorithm to be able to type people based on the video.
Okay.
I would need to learn how to work with TensorFlow and learn machine learning and actual, the SETE of getting it done rather than mapping it in my head, which is what NI wants to do.
Yeah.
So I have an idea for that, but I have other things that are higher priority right now. So if nobody else does it, then I'll give it a shot in a couple of years.
Yo, Virsaviya is she is flexing on you guys right now. I'm trying to tell you. She's coming back on Objectively Typed, and she's bringing AI. I'm trying to tell you.
There's the website. I mean, if you want to continue the flexing.
What?
But I also
you didn't tell me about the website.
For a while, Brian Camerino, Jason Mott, and I don't know if Jason's still in the Facebook groups. I doubt Brian is.
Okay.
We were working on building an open source website and trying to get it off the ground. And
open source for what? Open source for what? I'm sorry.
Oh, so ops website, like a single source of truth for ops. We're
You
building like a robust application. So we were initially going to start with a platform that has a wiki and blogging, because at the moment everyone is in
the
YouTube
Facebook.
space, but there isn't really a good central space where people are expressing themselves in the written form within the ops. So we wanted to put a blog together and all of that.
Well, but the Facebook though.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the same kind of discoverability that a blog does.
What do you mean? Oh, like if you do SEO or something?
Yeah, but not only that, like, I mean, yes, SEO, but like if I wanted to see what people have to say about sleep, like it's a bunch of conversation. It's not somebody putting together carefully planned thoughts and sharing what they think about it.
Right,
Not in the way that a blog post is.
It's not like a Medium or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we were working on that, and then I'm
OE.
Well, Demon Blast play. And then also the pandemic hit, and it hit me particularly hard. I had a lot of things going on.
Guys, don't let Virsaviya do this to you. I know there's someone out there working on a website too. So this is your time. I'm telling you.
I love that you're just putting TE pressure on.
Yep.
You're just like piling it on. Don't worry, my FI is immune to it.
Yeah. There we go.
No, it is something that I really do want to do. Very much so, but like I mentioned, I have other things that are higher priorities at the moment.
Yeah, not a problem. Just don't let her disrespect you like this. I'm trying to tell you. Okay.
Well, never mind.
No, do it.
Well, I was gonna say, I forgot. Anyway, we're moving on.
All right. She was gonna flex on you again. You saw that? All right. That was basically it.
Okay.
Because I know we have some other details, but I know you got to get the fuck out of here. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I mean, I'm constantly amazed at how useful the system is. Even if, like, I have a lot of friends who are in STEM, like hardcore STEM. Like two of my roommates have a company building gas stations in space. Half my friends are at Google or at NASA, like hardcore STEM. And so when I bring up ops to them, and these are people who have PhDs from like Ivy Leagues and all of that, like science PhDs. So the kind of demographic that would shit on this the most. And when I bring it up to them, a lot of them are kind of like, yeah, okay, V, that's nice. That said, I've been consuming a lot about personality, about why people do what they do, how we behave, all of that, because this is my FI box. And there's something really amazing with ops. It has its quirks. I think Dave and Shan, as much as I love a lot of the work that they are doing, because they're energy dom, their relationship with information is different than what the scientific community would want it to be. And I don't know if ops will ever get to a place where you can actually run studies to see if any of this is valid, or if it's reliable, or if any of this actually exists, or if we just want it to exist. But all of that aside, ops as a framework has been incredibly useful for me in my life, in how I relate to people, and how I understand myself, how I deal with my shit, how I level up, all of that. And I think what Dave and Shan have created is amazing. So I guess those are my parting thoughts.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
Pretty dope.
So
we're going to mic drop there. So Virsaviya, I got to do my awkward blast at the end, but before I do that, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. This was fun. Now, awkward blast time, guys. You might as well drop the hell out. I'm already processing the negative emotions of you leaving me. Okay. So, first of all, I'm not Kendrick. I'm not Benjamin. You don't think? I don't give a fuck. I didn't go into all their parts. I didn't go into being double masculine. I know you guys are mad. That's why there are other interviews. Okay. She's been around a while. Okay. I'm sure she's been interviewed like 5 times by these people. Okay. So go. You see? Oh, she didn't even put her name there because she's a savage. put Benjamin or ENFP male and type V, I guess, and then you'll find her.
I mean, I can write out Virsaviya, but when people see my name, they're like,
Yeah, no, it's actually in the description, so you're okay. So type in her name, and then you'll find all that cute shit, okay? All that. Oh, what would it be? Is your I can't even fucking do it. Is your sleep double feminine? Right?
Oh God, fuck that shit. Yes,
is your blast visual? All that bullshit. Okay, go over there for that. All right. Next, I'm trying to tell you, you can still catch hands at Super Smash Brothers. Okay, guys, I got a community. We're trying to put a tournament together. Okay, you already know I'm Savior Play. I want to body you and make sure you get your booty whooped. Okay, that's my TE responsibility. So you get your booty whooped. So we may put a tournament together. Be on the lookout for that. Okay, but in the meantime, my friend code is in my about page. Okay, don't be shy. Send me a message so we can put a time in the SI to get your booty whooped. Okay, that's my little puzzle piece. You notice that? Okay, next.
It's like, yeah, come check out this thing so I can whoop your ass.
That's exactly why. Yeah. Okay.
Play is so competitive.
Yeah. Next, I lie a lot on my videos. I always say I don't care about thumbs downs. I kind of care about thumbs downs, guys. Okay. If I get like 90 thumbs downs, I'm gonna be in my fucking feelings. Okay. So if you really want to wreck my day, go ahead and do that.
Or give him an opportunity to deal with the negativity of his demons and really grow that and level that up.
No, I'm gonna close this fucking channel down.
No, guys, please don't downvote this because I will be sad.
Yeah.
No,
I will shut this shit down. I've done this several times. If I feel negative emotions about any video, I will put it on private and it's over for you. Okay. So if you don't want to see this video anymore, feel free to put like a bunch of thumbs down.
Guys, please don't. Like, yeah. I don't want to disappear into his whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
For nobody to see.
Exactly. Yeah.
My DI is gonna hurt from not being significant.
Yeah. Missing information. I don't give a fuck. But feel free to leave a comment and a thumbs up or a thumbs down so I know what's going on. I read all my comments and hit subscribe so you can get notifications. I'm trying to tell you. Especially next week. You guys want to be here for next week specifically.
What's happening next week?
I'm not telling you. It's missing information.
Oh, come on.
Just know that's about to be fucking fire. I know.
I'll tell you what's happening next week, guys. Wednesday morning next week. Wednesday morning Pacific time. Raja and I are going to be talking.
Wait. Is ours on the same day?
I don't know. Well, I'm in the morning. And
no. What's Wednesday the what? What day is Wednesday?
I don't know. A week from tomorrow?
Oh, okay. No, this is perfect. This is serendipity.
Oh, so yeah.
Hers on Wednesday. And then hit me up on Thursday. I'm trying to tell you. Thursday, you're gonna want to be there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific. So that's like noon Eastern. Raja and I are gonna go live. We haven't in a while, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And on his channel, right? Or not? Is it his channel? Your channel? Yeah, exactly. Right? It's confusing.
It's just objectively typed. It's not a person. It's a brand.
All right. Well, it looks like his brand to me right now. But anyway, that's a little bit of shade at the end. Okay. Now that's it. I probably went over time, but really appreciate it, guys. Love you all. Virsaviya, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
On the next one.